It's been a rough couple of weeks to start the season for the SEC. Of course, conference play is going to begin this Saturday, and we're going to rank the teams heading into week 3, starting at number 14. Vanderbilt still at the bottom. I guess an okay performance against Wake Forest. Never really even had a chance to win that game, though. And the Commodores, clearly to me, look like the worst team, as I've been saying all the way back to the preseason. Number 13, South Carolina. An easy win this week. Not really a whole lot to say about this. It does hurt them a little bit seeing North Carolina almost lose to App State. Like, App State had a better performance against North Carolina than South Carolina did. It could be a rough game coming up against Georgia. We'll see. But the Gamecocks are number 13. Florida number 12 against McNeese State, an easy win. Also, the Utah loss doesn't look as good of a loss after Utah almost lost to Baylor. So it's early. We'll figure out a lot. We'll learn a lot about some of these teams actually this week. Missouri playing Kansas State. Of course, Florida, Tennessee, LSU, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Georgia. Big week coming up in the SEC. Number 11 is Missouri. Not a good performance at all against Middle Tennessee. They are 2-0 though. I guess that's the good news, but Missouri not looking as good as maybe we thought they would, and they dropped for me down to number 11. Number 10, Kentucky, also a team that struggled against Eastern Kentucky. I don't know what's going on with some of these SEC teams. That game was tied at 7 at halftime, and again, we're talking about an FCS opponent. Devin Leary, maybe he's starting to get some rhythm going though, and this offense perhaps can improve. They did finish strong in that game. Number 9 is Auburn. I don't know if I've ever seen a team look so bad on offense and still win a game on the road like this. They had 4 turnovers. The offense couldn't do anything. They gave Cal short fields all game long. Luckily, Cal missed 3 field goals, and Auburn made plays when they had to, but this was an ugly performance. But the good news is the defense played really well, and if that defense can play like that, and you get the offense to start clicking, watch out. Auburn could be pretty dangerous this year. Mississippi State with a big win over Arizona. Some people maybe think this is not a great win. I actually thought it was a good win. I was pretty high on Arizona this year, and I think Mississippi State was only favored by 9. So I was impressed by this performance. You're starting to see Mississippi State run the ball. That's kind of a difference. I think Will Rogers only threw 17 passes, so obviously it's a much different offense. Defense gave up a lot of big plays, but they forced, I think, 5 turnovers. So Bulldogs were opportunistic in this game, and they were efficient on offense. Again, with Rogers, I think it was 13 to 17 and 3 touchdowns. Had the ground game going. It did take overtime, but they got the win. And a win like that, again, that's pretty impressive. Number 7, Arkansas. Not all that impressive against Kent State. It was kind of a sleepy performance, I guess you could call it. Just didn't look great offensively. Defense played pretty well and giving up 6 points. But Arkansas, another team that just didn't play great, and that was kind of the story in the SEC this week. Texas A&M looked good early, but really kind of fell apart late. Gave up a lot of big plays. Their secondary at times was in good position, and Tyler Van Dyke just threw some great passes, but at times it was just bad defense. So it was kind of a combination there. I still think the Aggies will be okay. Connor Wigman's looking really solid. Offense has shown potential at times of looking like they could be really good. So don't give up so many big plays, and maybe the Aggies still have a chance to have a really good season. We'll see. Number 5, LSU, an easy win for them this week. But just didn't show up in the second half against Florida State, and that could really, we could look back at that and say, wow, that loss just killed their season. We'll see. Number 4, Ole Miss, a nice come from behind win. Nice fourth quarter finish for the Rebels. They didn't perform great against Tulane, but I think Tulane just kind of showed that they're actually a good team. And it took a lot of guts for Ole Miss to come back and win that game. So that was still a very nice win for them, in my opinion. Alabama at number 3, losing to Texas, of course. They've got issues. The passing game, I don't know if Milroe's the answer. Coming into this season, I thought if he was their starting quarterback, they'd probably lose maybe 3 games. And so we'll see what they do there. There were still some bright spots. He did hit some deep balls. The run game was there early, but then it kind of faded away. Texas started dominating up front, and the Alabama defense looked good early, but then Texas started beating them, taking some deep shots. So problems for Alabama, and they do not look like a playoff team at this point. Number 2, Tennessee. Ugly win against Austin Peay. I mean, I didn't see this one coming, especially after the way they played against Virginia. But they do still have that Virginia win, and they looked really impressive in that game. And again, though, this was not a good performance. The run game is still there. Milton just didn't play well. We'll see if he can bounce back against Florida. But number 1 for me is Georgia. Bulldogs take the top spot back, even though they didn't look overly impressive. I mean, they got off to a slow start offensively, but still wound up dominating the game. So for now, Georgia staying at number 1 because no one else wants to take that spot. I mean, the opportunities have been there. If Alabama could have beaten Texas, if Tennessee could have just played really well, I probably would have kept them at number 1. If LSU had beaten Florida State, Georgia is saying, hey, we haven't looked great so far. If somebody else wants to take this top spot for now, but no, Georgia will take it back, and we'll see what they do against South Carolina. I have a feeling they're going to hang on to this number 1 spot. So those are the power rankings heading into week 3. Give us your thoughts down in the comments below.